So, the main intention of research activity is to find a solution to a particular problem. The stakeholder will go through the research report thoroughly so that he'll come to know what is the exact position of the business activity. So, the researcher will come to know what are the studies that has been already taken place and what the studies that have to be taken in the future. Research report should serve the target purpose and satisfy the concern. Hello everyone, I am Harshita, lecturer, Department of Commerce, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. My dear students, today we are in the first session of Unit 6 and this is the last unit of your business research method, and the Unit 6 is all about research report. So let us see in this unit what we are going to learn. So what is this research report? Now, quickly we shall begin the session. Now, we shall have an introduction here. Now, what do I mean by a research report? So, till now, in your all before units, we have learned that what is research, what are the various types of data collection, how to identify the problem, how to analyze the data. So, everything we have discussed in detail. So here in this unit, since they have given you the last unit, that is research report, because research report is a final result of your research activity. That is, at the end of your research work, you have to present your research work in the form of report. So that you are going to learn under this particular unit, that is Unit 6 research report. Now we shall have an introduction here. A researcher should always begin with new searches on a particular subject and conclude with the justifiable results. Of course, the main intention of research is what? In order to find out new things or in order to find out the solution to a particular problem. So, if we speak about the business research, which will be having various types of problems. So, in order to solve those problems, the researcher has to find out or he has to collect the information or data in order to solve those problems. So, the main intention of research activity is to find a solution to a particular problem or to find out new things or in order to solve a particular problem. The results are interpreted in an organized manner through document known as research report. Now, what do I mean by an research report? So, as I've already told you, this is a final result or end result of your research activity where whatever you have found out through collection of data or through collection of information, so the findings has to be presented in a form of report which is known as research report. So here you can go through the meaning here. The results, that is whatever the end results, what we get after conducting our research activity, that is known as results, are interpreted in an organized manner. So it has to be presented in such a way that, so in our previous unit we have learned that how the research report has to be presented or how the after data analysis, that is after analyzing the data, how it has to be interpreted, in the sense how it has to be presented to the user. So it has to be presented in an organized manner. So we can't present our research result in an unorganized manner. So it has to be presented in an organized manner through a document. So that document is called as what? Research report. Thus, research report is a written document prepared and submitted by the researcher to the concerned stakeholders, incorporating as well as interpreting the relevant factors including the findings noticed during the research process. Now, whatever the findings the researcher will get after conducting his research work, so that has to be presented in a written document to whom? To the users. So the users may be the stakeholders. So the main users of this research report will be the stakeholders. So it has to be presented to the stakeholders, and there may be a number of internal as well as external users who are present in the organization who are eagerly waiting in order to know the research report. So those findings which is collected by the researcher, so after conducting his research work, whatever the findings he has got, so that has to be presented or that has to be interpreted to the users in a form of written document which is called as research report. A research report is submitted to the concerned stakeholder. As we all know, stakeholders are the real owners of the business. So they have the voting rights and they are the real owners of the business. For them, the research report has to be presented. Business promoters or the board of directors or the government or others. So here stakeholders includes, they may be the promoters or they may be the board of directors, government. So these are the users who will be waiting for the research report. For them, the researcher has to present a written document. So it should be in a written document which has to be presented to the users. After its submission, the concerned stakeholder will thoroughly study. So, after submission by the researcher, what the stakeholder will do? The stakeholder will go through the research report thoroughly so that he'll come to know what is the exact position of the business activity. So, how the problem has been solved. So, through that, the research report will be implemented in the business. So, after its submission, the concerned stakeholder will thoroughly decide about its consideration. So, he'll give the feedback how the research report is. So whether it can be implemented in our business or not, whether it is able to solve a particular problem or not. So based on that, it will be implemented in the business. So a research report should serve the target purpose and satisfy the concern. So the main intention of research report is to find a solution to a particular business problem or a research problem. Suppose the stakeholder is not satisfied about the research report, then what he'll do? He will tell the researcher to change the research report or what are the consideration he has to be taken in order to improve the research report. So that feedback will be given by the stakeholders. Therefore, the researchers should take all possible honest means to understand the research problem to arrive at a virtual results. So here the researcher has to be very careful while preparing the research report because that research report, so there are number of users who is going to rely on that particular research report. So he has to be very careful while preparing the research report. So in this unit, you are going to learn how we are going to prepare the research report, what are the types of research report. So everything we are going to learn in detail and how it will use the or how it will be helpful for the users. So that thing we are going to learn here. Now what you have to remember under introduction, so research report is a written document which contains all the findings of the research work which is done by the researcher and it has been submitted to the respective users in the form of a document which is called as research report. Now coming to the next concept, we shall see what is the role of research report. So, how the research report will be useful. So, what is the importance of research report? The importance or the role played by the research report is explained below. So, let us see all the side points. Next, we shall go through each and every point in detail. So, coming to the first one, knowledge transfer. So, they are telling that, so research report will help in transfer of knowledge. So, let us see what it is in detail in the next slide. Next, identification of knowledge gaps. And the third one is a good decision making tool. Fourth one is evaluation. Fifth one is development of skill. And the sixth one is fact presentation. So, it contains facts. Next, proper control. So, it will helpful in controlling of an organization. Next, managerial tool. It also acts as a managerial tool in order to take management decisions. Next, helps to deal with complex situations. So, these are the few role or the importance of research report. Now, let us discuss in detail in this particular session. Now coming to the first one, that is a role of research report, and the first one is knowledge transfer. So here the research report, of course, it is prepared by the researcher. Now that research report, as I've already told you, it has to be presented to the respective users and they may be internal or external users. Now here the knowledge of the researcher will be transferred to the users. Okay, so one who is going to refer that research work will be, or here the knowledge from the researcher, one who prepares the research work, that is researcher. So that knowledge will be transferred to the users of research report. So one of the objective of research is to contribute to the existing body of knowledge. So here research report or preparation of research report is not an easy task, as we have already learnt in our previous unit. So whatever the data or whatever the information which is collected from the respondents, we cannot directly put in a research report. So it has to be simplified. So it has to be done in such a way that only the important facts which is necessary to solve the problem has to be included there. So the researcher has to be very careful. He has to go through that. Only the important facts or only the necessary facts are included in the research report, so that the user can refer in order to solve their particular problem. So here, one of the objective of the research is to contribute to the existing body of knowledge. This can be made possible with the help of research report. A report effectively communicates the findings. So as I told you, it contains the findings of the researcher. That is, by doing his research work, whatever the solution he got, whatever the findings he got, so that will be recorded in the research report. So it contains the effective findings that has to be communicated to the users, findings of the research subject to the concerned parties. So what you have to remember here, as I have already told you, researcher is a person who prepares the research report. Correct? So here the knowledge of the researcher will be transferred to the user. So who are the users? That is user of research report. So the knowledge of researcher. So he will collect all the data. He will collect all the information in order to solve a particular research problem. So that data or information will be simplified, and this will be communicated to the users in the form of research report. Here there is a transfer of knowledge from researcher to user. Okay, so hope you have got the first point, that is knowledge transfer. Next one is identification of knowledge gaps. Now, by doing this research report, the researcher himself will come to know what he has actually done in his research work, and for further researchers, they also will come to know what the study which is being made on that particular subject and what he has to do in the future. So what already done and what he has to do in the future. So this gap can be maintained, or this gap can be identified through this research report. So a research report contributes for the identification of knowledge gaps for further studies. So this may help for both the researcher as well as the other researchers who are going to refer his research work. Now the researcher who have conducted the research work by himself, he will come to know so what he has studied and what was the previous study about his topic and what he is going to do in the future. And for other researchers also, by referring the research report, so he also comes to know what are the further studies that can be done on the same topic. So that gap can be identified through research report. A research report clearly exhibits what has been done. In the sense, previously, what are the studies that have already been done on the same topic and what remains to be done, what that has to be done in the future. So that gap can be clearly identified through research report. That is, exhibit what has been done and what remains to be done in the future. Thus, it is easy to understand the gap between the things already done. So, the things already done, that is already studied by other researchers, and the things that requires to be completed. So, that what has to be completed in the future. So, for example, in marketing research, a research report would help the business to understand the marketing needs as well as peculiarities. Now, what you have to remember in the second point, so the researcher will come to know what are the studies that has been already taken place and what the studies that have to be taken in the future. So, that is identification of knowledge gaps. Next, third one, a good decision making tool. Of course, the main intention of research itself to solve the business problems. correct? So by research report, it helps to know what are the solutions that can be made in order to solve the business problem. So thereby it helps or it acts as a good decision making tool. Business organizations are working in the complex environment. So what do I mean by complex environment? In the sense, the external environment which keeps on fluctuating. So day by day, the environment, that is the external environment which are unavoidable in nature, they are keeps on fluctuating, which requires thousands of information. Here, thousands of information, thousands of knowledge. So they are all keeps on fluctuating. So each and every day, each and everything are getting updated. So here the business is involving or it is revolving around complex environment. So a report will provide the required information on various business problems. So what do the research report will do? So it will provide the reasons or it will provide the solutions for the business problems, because the main intention of research is to find out a new things, find out a new problem and finding the solution to that particular problem. So since business is revolving around a complex environment where it keeps on fluctuating, so business research helps to solve those problems. So on the basis of results exhibited in the report, it is easy for the business enterprise to take decisions. So based on the research report, the business organizations will be able to take proper decisions. Next one is evaluation. So you know there are a lot of competition in the market, so which cannot be studied by each and every business organization in detail because they are busy in doing their work. So there is no sufficient time in order to study the competition or the changes that takes place in the market. But business research or the business research report, which studies about the competition in the market, helps the business organization to know about the current competition in the existing market. So large-scale organizations are engaged in multi-dimensional activities. So they are busy with their own activities, that is, they are busy with the number of activities in order to improve their profit. Correct? So they are busy with the multi-dimensional activities. It is not possible for an executive to keep a personal watch on what is going on in the market by business rivals. So we don't know about the competitions, what is going on, and the executive also, he is busy with his business work, so he cannot take into or he cannot take personally what are the competition which is going on in the market, that is about the competitors. So many business research report, so here the business research report will provide or the supply factual information about the changes happening in the market. That is, what are the fluctuations that are taking place in the market. So who are the competitors, who are the rivals for a particular business organization. So that can be studied separately by the business researchers. Okay, so business researchers will study those activities separately. So thereby, by producing the business research report, the business can implement and they will come to know who are the competitors, what are the fluctuations that are going to take place. So what is the competition level of that particular business? Everything can be studied in detail. Instead of having a personal look at the competitors, so by referring the research report which contains everything relating to competition, so they will come to know who are the actual competitors. Next one is development of skill. A research report carry unique meaning in a particular research topic. So here research in the sense what? Finding out new things. So thereby it improves the skill of the researchers and at the same time the persons or the people who are working with the researcher also. So a research report carry unique meaning on a particular research topic. By studying the research report, the business executive is able to develop various skills including designing, organizing, coordinating, judgment and communication skills. So these are the skills which can be implemented by the executive of an organization. At the same time, on the other hand, it helps to improve the skill of the researcher also, because he is going to take up a new challenge and find out a solution to a particular problem. So thereby it improves the skill of the researcher. At the same time, the executives who are referring the research report. And the next role is that fact presentation. Of course, in order to be an effective research report, so it should contain the facts. Only the facts will be, or only the facts which contains in the research report will help the survival of research report. Fact or virtual results of the research study are made known through the research report along with the findings as well as interpretations. Of course, if the organizations wants to refer the research report, then it should contain the facts, and those facts has to be interpreted as well as communicated properly to the business organization. Then only the importance of research report can be fulfilled. So here what you have to remember, this is one of the important role here where the business organization is going to refer the research report which contains the facts or virtual results. Thus, one can come across factual results through a research report, because they are going to study on a current situation, that is upcoming changes that takes place in the market. So thereby, it is very helpful for the business organizations also. So it will help the researcher to improve his research work or to fulfill his research work. On the other hand, it will help the organization by referring the research report. Next one is proper control. So the whole control of the organizations can also be made by referring the research report. The report envisages the process of bringing a project into operation. So research report is nothing like a project where they are going to find out a new things, or they are going to find out a solution to a particular problem. Now, once that project or once that report is successfully satisfied, then it can be implemented in the business organization. So here, proper control. So this research act as a project where if the project is satisfied, then those projects can be implemented in the business organization. So this project act as a guidelines. So it gives all the information, how the activities has to be conducted, how to solve a particular problem. So what are the problems the business can face, everything that are discussed in the research report itself. So many times the research report act as a controlling tool. On the basis of the research report, the business executive can ensure the proper control over the business activity by observing the way it is working. So here, before doing or before solving any particular problem in a business organization, so this research has to be done. So thereby the research report act as a guidelines, that is how the problem has to be solved, what are the difficulties that may overcome, that has to be overcome by the business organization. So what are the solutions we will get. So here the business report act as a guidelines. So it will take a proper control over each and every activities of the business organization. Next one is managerial tool. On the other hand, this research report act as a managerial tool also. That is, in order to take the management decisions, planning, organizing, directing, controlling, coordinating, communicating. So these are the activities can also be taken through this research report by referring the research report by the organization. So it acts as a managerial tool also. So whereas report outcomes or the results help managers. So it will help the managers to initiate functions of management more efficiently as well as effectively. So in order to conduct the work of an organization more efficiently, that is with more or minimum resources as well as maximum output, at the same time the work can be completed in a particular time, because this research report acts as a guidelines here for planning, organizing, coordinating, motivating, controlling. The manager needs the help of the report. So these are the managerial activities that takes place in an organization, that is planning, organizing, directing, staffing, controlling, coordinating, reporting, communicating. So these are all managerial activities. So in order to have a proper managerial activity, the research report acts as a managerial tool. So the report acts as a good source of information to take appropriate decisions. So proper decisions can be taken in an organization. Next one is helps to deal with complex situations. So the various external situations, as I've already told you, which are unavoidable in nature, so those situations can also be solved quietly by referring the research report, because this research activity will study. So in research, we have already studied about the external environment. What are the changes? What are the difficulties that are going to face in the external environment? So it will be already studied and it will be presented in the research report. So thereby, referring the research report, the organization will be able to solve the complex situations, that is unavoidable situations. So here the external environment, changes in the external environment cannot be deleted completely, but it can be avoided by taking necessary measures. So this research report acts as a measure here. So by referring the research report, the business organization will be prepared for that worst situation that takes place in the external environment. So various internal and external challenges can be easily handled with the help of research report. That is, it's not that only external situation, even certain internal situations also, it is very difficult to solve, but it is controllable in nature, not like external situations. So external situations cannot be. So it is over and above the hands of business organization. So these are the few rules of research report. That is how the research report is going to help the business organization. In my next session, I am going to continue with the next topic of this particular unit, that is types of research report. So let us say what are the various types of research report. So my dear students, hope you have understood today's session. See you all in my next session with a new topic. Till then, take care. Thank you.